As December 2, 2025 arrives, a deep, unfamiliar chill settles over the land. The air carries whispers of a Siberian cold front, promising a winter that could break records across Eastern Europe. This isn't just a call for thicker coats, it's a season that could reshape daily life. From Siberia, waves of frigid air are already moving west, prompting a Siberian chill alert. This winter could test our resilience and preparedness like never before. Let's journey to the icy plains of Siberia and the polar vortex to understand why this winter stands apart. Understanding this story is the first step to keeping our homes safe and warm, no matter how fierce the cold outside. To grasp the coming chill, we start in Siberia, a land where winter dominates. Here, the sun barely rises, and the ground radiates its warmth away, creating the Siberian high, a dense, frigid dome of air. This cold mass is the raw ingredient for Europe's harshest winters. When conditions align, the Siberian Express sends this cold westward, sweeping over the Urals into Eastern Europe. It's not a dramatic storm, but a silent, relentless invasion that steadily drops temperatures. The sky turns clear, the air sharp, and frost coats every surface. This year, models show a particularly strong Siberian high, hinting at a cold with the power to define the entire season. The story of our winter chill begins in Siberia, destined for our doorsteps. Now, let's meet the polar vortex, the stratospheric gatekeeper of Arctic cold. The polar vortex is a swirling mass of frigid air, corralled by fierce winds high above the Arctic. When stable, it keeps the cold locked up north, sparing Eastern Europe and North America from the worst. This system is our natural barrier, spinning silently above, protecting us from deep freezes. But the vortex isn't always stable. When it weakens, the cold escapes, and the consequences are felt thousands of miles away. The state of the polar vortex will decide if this winter is manageable or truly extreme. This is the next chapter in our story of a potentially record-breaking winter. The polar vortex, a vast whirlpool of icy air spinning high above the Arctic, is usually held in place by strong winds that circle the pole. But sometimes, powerful atmospheric waves, generated by shifting weather patterns far below, can disrupt this delicate balance, causing the vortex to wobble, stretch, or even split apart. When this happens, the once stable river of frigid air becomes unstable, setting the stage for dramatic changes in weather across the northern hemisphere. This disruption is often triggered by a phenomenon called sudden stratospheric warming, where temperatures in the upper atmosphere rise rapidly over just a few days. As a result, the jet stream, normally a fast-moving barrier that keeps Arctic air locked up north, weakens and becomes wavy, opening the gates for Arctic air to spill south. The cold, once contained, now surges in looping lobes, plunging into regions that are often unprepared for such extremes. One of these lobes often stretches over Europe, bringing with it a deep freeze that can last for weeks. Meteorologists are watching for this scenario in winter 2025, as early signs point to a major vortex disruption on the horizon. If it happens, it creates a direct pathway for the so-called Siberian Express, a relentless surge of cold air that can transform a local chill into a hemispheric deep freeze. The effects of this atmospheric upheaval don't reach the ground immediately. It can take a week or two for the cold to descend, but when it does, the impact is unmistakable. Once the cold air arrives, it can linger for weeks, locking entire regions in a persistent freeze. Instead of a brief cold snap, communities face a relentless chill that transforms landscapes, disrupts daily life, and tests infrastructure. Rivers freeze solid, snow piles up, and the world outside becomes a silent, icy expanse. This is how a disturbance high above our heads can bring life-altering cold to our doorsteps. It's the hidden mechanism that could make this winter not just memorable, but truly historic, reminding us of the powerful forces at play in our atmosphere. To gauge what's ahead, we look to winters past, like 2012, when a similar setup plunged Eastern Europe below -30°C. Rivers froze, transport halted, and lives were lost. The cold's duration made it devastating. Just this past January, North America faced a polar vortex disruption, with wind chills dropping to life-threatening lows. These events show that a disrupted vortex brings not just inconvenience, but real danger. This winter's forecasts draw direct comparisons to those severe outbreaks, hinting at a once-in-a-generation event. Studying these past winters, teaches us how infrastructure can fail and who is most at risk. These stories aren't to scare, but to remind us to respect nature's power and prepare. The echoes of history guide us as we face the challenges of winter 2025. When the cold arrives, our top concern is health and safety. Hypothermia and frostbite can strike quickly, especially for the elderly, children, and those with health issues. In these conditions, exposed skin can freeze in minutes, cover up, and limit time outdoors. The psychological toll is real too. Isolation and cabin fever can set in during long, dark stretches. Checking on neighbors, especially those alone, becomes an act of kindness and survival. The most vulnerable, like the homeless, face life or death risks, putting pressure on shelters and services. For struggling families, heating costs can force impossible choices. This winter will test our compassion and collective responsibility. Ensuring everyone has a safe, warm place is more important than ever. The Siberian freeze strains our infrastructure as much as our bodies. Frozen pipes can burst, causing catastrophic water damage in hours. The energy grid faces surging demand. Outages during extreme cold become public safety emergencies. Transportation falters. Fuel gels, tracks crack, and even starting a car is a challenge. Roads become hazardous, and emergency services are stretched thin. Buildings are tested by heavy snow and ice dams, risking roof and structural damage. The winter of 2025 will reveal weaknesses in our systems and test our resilience. Our homes and towns must withstand not just the cold, but the pressure it brings. This season is a reminder of how much we rely on the web of services that keep us safe and warm. It may seem odd to talk about record cold as the planet warms, but this is one of the most fascinating and misunderstood aspects of climate change. Many people expect global warming to simply mean milder winters and less snow, but the reality is far more complex and surprising. Climate change brings paradoxes that challenge our expectations. As average temperatures rise, the atmosphere and oceans are shifting in ways that can actually make winter weather more unpredictable and, at times, more severe. The Arctic is warming faster than anywhere else on Earth, a phenomenon known as Arctic amplification. This rapid warming is destabilizing the polar vortex, a swirling mass of cold air that usually stays locked around the North Pole. With less sea ice to reflect sunlight, the Arctic absorbs more heat, accelerating the warming process. This extra heat disrupts long-standing weather patterns, making the polar vortex more likely to wobble and break apart. These disruptions fuel powerful atmospheric waves that ripple through the jet stream, pushing frigid Arctic air much farther south than usual. The result? Sudden intense cold snaps in places that might otherwise expect milder winters. On average, winters may be milder, with more days above freezing and less persistent snow cover. Yet the overall pattern is shifting in a way that brings more volatility and surprise. Extreme cold snaps are becoming more frequent and intense, even as the number of steady, cold days declines. Instead of predictable winter chill, we now face wild swings, mild spells followed by sudden deep freezes. These volatile swings can catch communities off guard, with blizzards and deep freezes arriving unexpectedly, sometimes after a stretch of unseasonably warm weather. We can't be lulled by a mild start to winter. Just because the season begins gently doesn't mean it will stay that way. Sudden Arctic plunges are now a regular risk, capable of disrupting daily life, straining infrastructure, and challenging our preparedness. While scientists continue to debate the finer details of how these processes interact, the overall trend is clear. Polar vortex disruptions are happening more often, and their impacts are being felt across the northern hemisphere. The Siberian chill alert of 2025, which brought record-breaking cold to millions, may be just a preview of our new winter reality, one defined by extremes and unpredictability. Understanding this icy paradox is key to preparing for a future where winter can bring both unexpected warmth and sudden, severe cold. Only by recognizing these changes can we adapt and stay resilient in a world of shifting seasons. As the temperatures drop and the days grow shorter, it's time to turn our attention to preparing our homes and families for the deep freeze ahead. Winter can be beautiful, but it also brings unique challenges that require thoughtful planning and a little extra effort. By taking a few simple steps now, you can help ensure your loved ones stay safe, warm, and comfortable all season long. Start by sealing drafts around windows and doors. Even small gaps can let in cold air and drive up your heating bills. Use weather stripping, insulation tape, or even heavy curtains to keep the warmth inside where it belongs. Taking the time to check for leaks and drafts now can make a big difference in your comfort and your wallet throughout the winter. Don't forget about your plumbing. Insulate pipes in unheated areas like basements, garages, and crawl spaces to prevent them from freezing and bursting. It's also important to know exactly where your main water shutoff valve is located, so you can act quickly in case of an emergency. A little preparation now can save you from costly repairs and water damage later. On the coldest nights, let your faucets drip just a bit to keep water moving through the pipes, which helps prevent freezing. Open cabinet doors under sinks, especially those on exterior walls, to allow warm air to circulate around the plumbing. These small actions can make a big difference when temperatures plummet. Every household should have a well-stocked emergency kit. Gather flashlights, extra batteries, a battery-powered radio, first aid supplies, essential medications, non-perishable food, bottled water, and plenty of warm clothing and blankets. Don't forget items for pets and infants if needed. Having these supplies ready means you'll be prepared for power outages, or if you're snowed in for a few days. If you have a fireplace or wood stove, make sure it's clean, safe, and well-stocked with dry wood or fuel. Have your chimney inspected and cleaned to prevent fire hazards. Remember, never use a gas stove or oven for heat, as this can be extremely dangerous. Safe heating is essential for a cozy winter. Winter can be especially tough for elderly neighbors and those living alone. Take a moment to check in on them, offer to help with errands, or simply share a warm conversation. Sometimes a friendly visit can make all the difference in someone's day and ensure they have what they need to stay safe. This winter is not just a challenge, it's also an opportunity to come together and strengthen the bonds within your neighborhood. Whether it's shoveling snow, sharing supplies, or just checking in, working together helps everyone get through the season a little easier. By preparing ahead and looking out for one another, we can face even the harshest Siberian chill with confidence. Community support and a little kindness go a long way in making winter safer and more manageable for everyone. With preparation, care, and a spirit of togetherness, we can transform our homes into warm, resilient sanctuaries, ready to face whatever winter brings our way. Stay safe, stay warm, and remember, we're all in this together.